Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the St. Louis podcast. Of course, you got myself, Eric Brown. Today, we have Brent Faron on with Bo Beuckman Ford, and of course, B&I Spectacular. Masters of Referrals guest on today. We're going to talk about business, entrepreneurship, current events, some other stuff. We're going to try and not get Brent here canceled. If you want to do that, just go read his comments on Facebook.
There you go.
So, Brent, thank you for joining. How you
Thank
doing,
you.
man?
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. My
Absolutely.
first podcast. I appreciate you taking my podcast virginity, Eric.
That's right. I've taken a lot on this podcast. I
I
think
bet you have.
I've done it all, and let me tell you, they've been actually. I'll just not say it. Never mind. Moving on.
That was quick. That was quick.
I had a good one, but
Already
we
canceled.
we can't get canceled in the first 1 minute. All right. So, Bo Beuckman Ford. So, I want to know you always talk about business a lot in B&I and succeeding and being successful, and a lot of people don't want to do the work. So you started as a porter, correct?
That's right.
Now, is a porter considered I guess the lowest tier essentially at a car dealership?
Yeah, I mean, we don't really.
You're not going to say
Yeah,
it like that.
yeah. I mean,
That's like the starting position at a
that's the
car
start.
dealership.
Yeah, that's the starting. Usually your lowest paid position. I did that along with did a lot of manual labor and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So whether it was tamping asphalt, taking
Yep.
out the trash, cleaning cars, washing windows. I was really good at that.
Yeah.
Apparently, I didn't.
Washing
I
windows.
legitimately didn't think I was going to get promoted ever because my father-in-law loved how well I washed windows.
It's like you need to just start a window cleaning business.
Yeah, so he was like, "Oh, I'm never going to promote you. Then I won't have anyone to wash windows." So
It's like I'll teach someone to wash the windows.
yeah,
Let's
which
talk about
coincidentally, I was washing the windows. I looked in through the showroom window. And there was a moment where I was like, I'm gonna help run this place someday. And like there was literally while I was standing under the canopy cleaning windows. So yeah, and then eventually got a little opportunity to move my way up in the business.
So what's the next step after that?
So my father-in-law was like, if you finish college, which I had
Mhm.
like a couple courses left to do, I'll get
Mhm.
you a job in the office. And then him and my office manager were talking about like stocking in cars,
Sure.
like mind-numbing job,
Yep.
literally copying stuff from paper onto a computer.
Mhm.
They actually word on the street is they weren't sure that I was even capable of doing that. So the bar was set extremely high for me. And I think at one point, actually, I know at one point my wife was like, "Do you guys think I'm dating a complete
Yeah,
idiot?"
idiot, yeah.
And then I don't think they ever answered that question, but
Yeah.
she's like, "Give him the job." So got that job, and then a lot of times I would clock out and then just start learning about the business, the DMS, everything. Because like once you're in accounting, you see all the money moving, the parts moving,
Mhm.
and that's where I kind of
It's really multiple businesses in one, right?
it really is because you have so many different. You've got new car, used, service, body shop, parts. You've got finance. You've got your own little section for loaners. You've got
Mhm.
your office that has to keep track of rebates, etc.
Yep.
Um,
I'm gonna
you
move
know,
this in.
a fleet. You've got your fleet business. So you've got a lot of going on in one business, and that's where I was like, really like, wow, there's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
And I actually went into my father-in-law. I'm like, how do you keep track of all this shit? This is crazy. And that's when he was kind of like, look, it's as easy as just do the right thing.
Mhm.
I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, do the right thing. You're not going to win them all. The money and the success will follow. If you
Yep.
do that, you'll be fine. And if you understand that your employees are your biggest asset,
Mhm.
doesn't matter what you're selling,
Everyone's in the people business.
exactly. So it doesn't matter like what you're doing, what service you're providing. If you take care of your employees, they will take care of your people, and you will be taken care of.
Mhm.
So that's when I just started kind of leveling up from there. Got another little opportunity where he gave me an opportunity to like focus on my phone skills,
Mhm.
and which were absolutely horrible. Like
Yeah.
the worst, probably out of any business. My first phone call, I was sitting in the office and I called this lady, and it was like so shaky
Mhm.
and so bad,
Yep.
and like I remember
Everyone remembers their
oh,
first phone
brutal,
call.
man. I hung up the phone and, like, just stared at that screen and just remember thinking, like, "Oh my god, what the hell was that?"
So is that a sales call?
It was a sales
Yeah.
call. It was
Yep.
I was, equity mining,
Mhm.
and I don't even remember what I don't remember what I said. I just remember being like, "Oh my god," and just, like, I was sitting there staring at it, and then our internet manager walked around the corner, and he's like, "Hey, did you call so and so?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, Yeah, she just called and said, "We've got someone scamming people from this number." I'm like, "Shit." I'm like, "Yep, that was me." So,
Not scamming.
yeah, so at that point, I was like, "Dude, I gotta get better at this." So then I started, like, really researching phone skills
Mhm.
and, like, what can I do to be better? Made my phone skills really, really good and, got another opportunity
So what'd
where
you research?
Chet Holmes, I ended up
Yeah.
I was big into Tony Robbins,
Oh god.
yeah, at the time, I was
Don't get me started on Tony
oh, dude, we'll
Robbins.
we'll go to an event together,
He's a
man.
cult.
So,
Like, he just extracts wealth from people that are not
he's a
successful.
great salesman, so
100%.
he I was, like, watching him, and I think Chet Holmes or
Mhm.
something at the time was somehow connected
Yeah.
on some way, shape, or form,
Sure.
and so I started, like, really focusing on him. Honestly, the ground, like, like I said, the bar was really low,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
I absorbed a lot really fast because it was brutal, but, eventually got really good at it and then, got an opportunity to take on another, lead source that our internet department wasn't really doing much with,
Mhm.
and my father-in-law was like, "Hey, do you wanna take a shot at this?" I'm like, "Sure." He's like, "I didn't even tell you what it was."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Let's
whatever
do
it
it.
is, let's
Yep.
go."
Yep.
And, so then he's like, basically what I'm asking you to do is turn shit into gold. I'm like,
Mhm.
"Perfect."
Mhm.
So then that was my first experience of, like, taking a lead from something where they're getting hit by, like, 6 different dealerships and making my own process.
Yep.
And how am I gonna be different than the other 6?
Mhm.
Half of the people are lying to the customer. How am I gonna be different?
I think everyone hates car buying.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like,
And
no one likes it.
yeah, and so these
If I
people
could, I would just go online and, just buy it.
yeah, that's because 'cause you're a nerd. But yeah.
I don't wanna I well, why it's like okay, so some people don't understand cars, but at the end of the day, do you really need a car salesman for every car that's sold?
Yeah, so right now it's like people will pay for convenience.
Yep.
People want convenience. Like,
Mhm.
and that's a lot of what I'm doing with our service department as well is like helping everybody understand like if you
No one
give
wants to be in a dealership.
right, they don't
It's
want
like
to like you don't want your car service either.
yeah,
Like
it literally.
like if you can pick my car up and you can give me a loaner and you can drop it off
Mhm.
and service it and
Exactly.
do all the work and bring it back to me, like hell yeah, I don't care about like take it. Fine.
Exactly.
And same with like the car buying experience is the same, very similar. Same. The more there's so much friction and so much like bad. There are a lot of bad dealers out there. There's a
Mhm.
ton of ones that don't do it right and they don't take care of their customers.
Well, even a lot of
And
the big guys in St. Louis,
yeah,
have terrible review do you think it comes back to a lot of these dealerships were, founded by, now it's on, like, the 3rd generation of family for a lot of these people, and you can listen to countless business stories about how eventually it's all gonna fall apart because they don't know how hard the original person worked to make it happen.
absolutely.
It's all been just passed down, and now it's like, who cares? It's all about money.
Yeah,
Greed.
yeah, and really every business is one bad leader away from failing. Like
Mhm.
no matter how great your empire that you built is, like if you have a shitty leader that comes in, it's gonna the cars will crumble fast, especially with a dealership.
Yep.
Dealerships absorb they require eat a lot. They
Mhm.
require a lot to keep going. So you keep your eye off the ball, or you get somebody who's not experienced with dealership, like how it works and everything, like you can lose money very fast. So yeah, in general in St. Louis too, you're gonna have, I think, a lot of probably in the next 10 years, you'll have a lot of turnover where there's a lot of dealerships that they don't have either the family that
Mhm.
has been through it, they
Yep.
don't have the family that's capable of it, or they don't have the family that really wants
That
to do
wants
it.
it.
Because it's not if you don't want to do it, it's not like you just sit there and relax. It's intense. And
Well, now car dealership stuff is big on like reels. Have you
yeah,
noticed that?
yeah,
Like there's a couple guys that like videoed everything.
yeah. Yeah, so we're kind of delving a little bit into that, but,
Mhm.
kind of back to what you were saying as far as, like, the sale process and everything.
Yep.
I think there's still always gonna be room for someone there to take care of the customer, like,
Mhm.
that's inevitable,
Mhm.
and I think the customer wants that.
Yep.
Like, you do want and when you get a car brought to you, delivered to you, you buy it, whatever, you still want someone to take care of your customers. So, like, I always try to give like my referrals, my anything that I have, any people I know, I always have a salesman work with them because at the end of the day, when that person comes in for service or whatever,
Yep.
they're going to be the one taking care of them. They're going to be the one
Mhm.
getting them a loaner, making sure they're taken care of. And I think there's always, and especially in the dealership world, there's always room for customer service, and
Yep.
that's not a big, that's usually not a big forefront of dealership life.
Yep.
And a lot of dealerships around fail at that. And like you mentioned, Google reviews,
It's like the easiest thing.
it
Just
is.
communicate with your customers.
That's another
It's like
big
it's
thing
not that
is
hard.
just call them, text
Yeah.
them, even if they're pissed.
Yep.
And that's our biggest. We have a 4.8 Google rating with over
Mhm.
2,200 reviews.
Mhm.
If there is a bad review, or if there is any word of something going like wrong,
Yep.
I get involved. My father-in-law gets involved. Our general manager gets involved, and then we get the manager, whoever, whatever department that is,
Mhm.
and then we sit there and we figure out, okay, did we mess up? And if
Yeah.
we messed up, it's
Right.
like, okay, let's fix it.
Was this on us? Yeah.
Yeah, and nobody's perfect. You're going to mess up.
Mhm.
That's part of life. And honestly, how you respond to that is really big. I think you build
Exactly.
raving fans from the pissed off people
Yeah.
when you step up to the plate.
Mhm.
It's a lot easier to build a fan from that person than it is to the person that, just comes in. It's like boom, boom, easy.
Yep.
With that said, there's plenty of crazy people out there that are gonna give
Sure.
like
Sure.
so, but yeah, we've built a lot of that was built from when my father-in-law took the dealership over. He was very, very in tune with customer service and making all the departments customer service oriented. That was one of his big things when he took the dealership over.
Yeah. People just hate maintaining, and servicing their car.
Oh yeah.
They
I
just hate
mean,
it.
of course, it's not fun to,
Get the
get new
bill.
brakes or
Yeah.
yeah, or get new tires or whatever. It's not really exhilarating.
No, it's not. I feel like, you know what's interesting? So let's talk about the car market real quick. So prices are coming down.
Yep.
The car market's like in free fall it's coming back to where it was almost before COVID.
Yeah.
What does that mean for all of these people that have negative equity?
I mean,
Because I watch stuff and I see all the time these videos of people that come into a dealership with like $50,000 negative equity and they just keep rolling it. I'm like, I don't understand the concept of even being able to do that.
yeah, I mean, eventually the reaper's gonna come.
Yeah, because
You're
you're in
gonna
the
have to
hole
pay
60
it.
grand
Yeah, like
or
outside
whatever it
of
is.
something crazy, realistically, I don't think the majority of people aren't hooked like 60 grand or
Mhm.
50 grand. That's, a few people. Like you mentioned, the prices are coming down. With that, the new cars, you're gonna have a lot of rebates, et cetera, on new cars. We found out like a lot of our new inventory, I mean, we're selling it really, really fast because they're starting to stack up rebates, they're starting to
Yeah.
stack interest rate or
Mhm.
whatever, trying to move inventory.
Mhm.
So I think that combined, and then obviously, like you mentioned, you got to maintain your car. If you
Yep.
don't, like, you're going to be paying, like, people get very car payment oriented.
Yeah,
A
that's
lot of people get like, I don't have a payment. And I'm always like, you always have a payment.
yep.
You're going to be paying me in service. You're going to be paying like one
Mhm.
way or the other. You're going to pay for that car.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's always interesting that people go into it on a monthly payment basis. It's like
yeah,
no one really understands money
yeah,
if all you're looking at is the m- the monthly payment that you have.
yeah,
It's like if you also shouldn't be buying a house like that. That's okay, I could afford $3,000 a month. Let's go get that house. It's like that.
all in.
Yeah, it's like that's not how it works in I don't know if you saw, but like more or delinquencies continue to go up on car loans.
Yeah,
So I wonder if that's going to create because the same thing's been happening with houses. Delinquency rates
right.
are going up on homes, and supposedly Biden was helping out a lot of these people that should have been foreclosed on.
Yeah.
Well, Biden era programs, whatever you want to call them, and I don't know. I think I've been talking about it for a while. I think we're gonna have a come to Jesus here fairly soon with a lot of these people that are just underwater. But that means there's gonna be a lot of used cars flowing into the car market, you would think.
Yeah, there's always opportunity. One of the things my father-in-law always mentioned was that even in times where it's really, really difficult,
Mhm.
that's when the most opportunity is. So
Yep.
during whatever, and that's what I mean, fortunate, I guess, fortunate, unfortunate,
Well, COVID was so true to that because you saw a
exactly.
lot of people
Yeah.
kill it over COVID, and you saw a lot of people go away.
Yeah. He was so like, so when we were figuring out, I guess, if we were going to be able to even keep the sales department open,
Right.
he
which is
was
an
like,
insane thought to begin with. It's like,
right.
huh,
So he was like so calm and collected. And I remember going up there, I'm like, you're pretty calm and collected for what's going on. Like multiple other dealerships had cut their staff in half
mhm,
already. They're, cutting managers' pay.
mhm,
And he's like, he's like, hey, have you seen all of, he's actually, have you seen my lake house? I'm like,
yeah,
no. Have you seen my beach house? Like, no. You seen my exotic cars? No.
yeah,
He's like, yeah, all those payments keep coming in. And he's like, at the end of the day, I came into this business and the dealership was not in a good standpoint for me.
mhm,
And I'll never let it be that again. And so, we have war chests set aside for just that
for
type of, I mean,
this, yeah,
not like COVID in general, but like
sure,
we've got money set aside that we're going to take care of our people, and we should be able to withstand and adapt and maneuver. We're
mhm,
small enough business where we can move pretty quickly, however we needed to, and we did that. Our biggest thing wasn't really profits; it was to not have to let anybody go. Like
yeah,
that was one of the biggest things.
yep,
That's why I shaved my head into a mullet.
yep. That
So
was I think that was most businesses' goals at that time was just to keep everyone on and hopefully figure it out
there were a
by the
lot
time.
that just started chopping.
Oh my god,
That like
immediately.
boom. That's why I was like, dude, why are these guys chopping? Why are these guys cutting so many people so fast? Like
Yep.
it's not even like it was before, like, shit got really weird.
And big
Like
companies did it too.
yeah, and I
And
was like
now we're still hurting because of it.
yeah,
In
exactly.
different industries like airlines and things like that. They're like, can some of you old guys come back? We need
Yeah.
some pilots."
So I think I do think the job market in general is kind of turning. We're seeing a lot more, quality people coming in, and we happen to be in a position where my father-in-law and our general manager, Larry, my wife's godfather, the godfather,
The Godfather.
he,
I love that.
they built a really, really good culture with our dealership. So we have a lot of people who were there 20, 30 years. We have
Mhm.
one guy who's over 50 years there. Um, so those
We need
people,
to make him retire soon.
we tried and then he came back.
Oh, is he,
That's Body Shop Bob.
oh, okay,
So he used to
okay.
pick my father-in-law up when they were 15. He picked my father-in-law and Larry, our GM,
That's awesome.
up, and they would clean cars for Bo,
Nice,
way back in the day.
nice.
But the guys who've been there a long time, they're starting to retire, and we're starting
Mhm.
to have to try to replace them with and find the next,
Yep.
20, 30-year person. And
Mhm. But
it's
people don't have that type of I feel like people our age don't have that type of loyalty anymore.
definitely not. It's
I
definitely,
don't and that's, like, one of the hardest things to instill is, like, everyone's and I get it. You know, but also I listened to this podcast, I think he was on Mike Rowe, and they were talking about how they actually poll people correctly to figure out what they actually think. This is an episode that came out a couple weeks ago, and he was saying that people actually don't care as much about money, more so than finding a place to work that they are actually doing something that is giving them value.
yeah,
That they actually get intrinsic value from what they're doing. So if that's you helping out people that need cars to not get screwed over by the person down the street, if that's me making sure that, I'm helping to grow businesses and that's really what I care about is helping other small businesses and figuring out how to grow them without obviously screwing them over like a lot of marketing agencies do. But and if you don't have that, right? If you just go to work and you hate your life, you hate your job, it's like even if you're making 200 grand or 500 grand, it's like you're still miserable.
yeah. And I think we're like, and like I mentioned with culture is like huge with
Mhm.
us. And we're finding a lot, like we've recently brought on a good number of people, whether it's technicians and service body shop, whether it's managers up front, um, who are enthralled with the culture.
Mhm.
And because they worked at a place where it's like
Ex
volatile and they're like, dude,
exactly.
this sucks. Like
Yep.
I don't like I'll come there
Mhm.
over this other place because I have peace of mind
Yep.
and I have people who have my back and want to grow with me as
Mhm.
opposed to beat me down. So, yeah, I think culture is everything for a business and it's the hardest thing to really do,
S
honestly.
so how did you guys instill that? How did you build that over the last couple of decades?
Mainly care, like caring about
Mhm.
people and from the top down, you've got, I mean, my father-in-law, he's 6-day-a-week guy
Yeah.
for so long. And same with our GM, like Larry. The guys who've been there for a long time really helped me because I didn't like this is the only place I've
Sure.
really worked at, especially
Mhm.
full time. I didn't really have a job anywhere else.
Yep.
So watching how they dealt with people over the time, and then making sure that like the next generation that is coming in fits that culture,
Mhm.
and making sure they understand like we do care about you. Like not a lot of people in a lot of businesses, the owner or the ownership does not come down. They don't talk to people. They don't care about
Yeah.
people. Whereas like Joe's like loves being down, loves being in front of people. I always mess with him with other people. We had a new salesman that started, and my father-in-law was in the showroom and he was cleaning the wheel of a car. And so I handed the salesman the keys. I'm like, "Hey, have this porter go clean my demo." And so he went over. He's like, "Hey, will you go clean this Brent's demo for him?" And he turned around and he saw me laughing behind him. He goes, "You tell Brent to go clean it himself." And he came back and he goes, "Man, he won't do it. He told you to go clean it himself." I'm like, "Man, you went and said that to him?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Dude, that's Joe Boykman." He's like the Joe? I'm like the Joe? He goes, "Oh my god." Then Joe came over, he's like, "Dude, we're just messing with you, man."
That's hilarious.
But yeah, I
That's a great
mean,
prank.
yeah. Oh yeah, I've poor Joe. Pull a lot of pranks on a lot of the managers and stuff. I do love doing that.
You gotta keep it entertaining.
Yeah, yeah, we do for sure. We do. We pull a lot of pranks on each other. Um, definitely keep
Office life gets boring.
yeah, yeah. I had fake cameras put up around one of our managers' desks, and he was started like they're all over and like big flashing red lights and stuff.
You can get those on Amazon for like $5.
Yeah, yeah. So I had
It's
him put
amazing,
up like
yeah.
on the wall, like 17 feet up, looking down, a big giant red light. He's like, "The hell's going on?"
That's great. Alright, so yeah, culture is key. It's all I always find it interesting when I try and have conversations about culture. It's like it's so hard to really explain everything that goes into it without you being there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's hard to experience too.
Yep.
Like without seeing, especially in like a dealership, you've got a lot of dealerships don't work in tune with each other. Like the departments, like you mentioned, they're kind of segregated where like
Mhm.
they're all different. Like
Yep.
service and sales don't get
"Oh, you're
along,
looking for
whatever.
service? Yeah, fuck off over there."
Exactly, exactly. And that's how we tried to, and what Joe initially, when he first took the dealership over, created a lot of fusion between all the different departments. And a lot of it has to do with how we respond to negativity from customers. Like,
Mhm.
you had a bad experience, we want to know about it. And
Yep.
that's why I put my like cell phone number out there. I'm not running from anybody. If you had a bad experience, I want to know about it. How can
Yep.
we make it better? And usually, when the customers are happier, the employees are going to be happier.
Yeah. Yep.
When the employees realize, like, hey, ownership management, they have my back. They're going to take care of. We're here to help. Then that's easier for them to not. I don't want to say sell, but that's easier for them to wear that armor in front and
Mhm.
be on the front line and be in front of the customer and say, yeah, this is what we do. If there's an issue, we'll take care of you. Like,
So you said something about how, your father-in-law said that, you know, "I don't have" "Where's the boat?" Right?
yeah,
When you look at businesses, like a business owner, for example, that has all of those things, but then has employees that don't make a lot of money, right? Let's just say, and even if it's entry level, okay, you can get, I guess you could say that, but when no one else at the company can afford anything close to like what ownership is doing, meanwhile, people at their company become resentful at some point. So it's almost like, how well do you have to do for your employees and for yourself to be able to buy that shit and them not hate you for it? You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I think like we're talking about, it boils down to culture.
Hmm.
If you're in a business and you're coming up, I don't hate, or I don't I think people should be able to. If you're the business owner and you have sacrificed and your neck is on the line,
Yep.
like I have no problem with you should make a lot of money because,
Hmm.
at the end of the day, all that money stacks up on your desk. And
Yep.
then all the expenses start going.
Hmm.
And once it gets down to nothing, is still your ass.
Yep.
Like, so I mean, I think when you boil it down to culture, and then as a business owner, I think you want to create wealth within your company as well, and you want the younger generation as they start to come up. I think it's important to also include them in that, and then to show them that what they can possibly achieve.
Yeah.
Obviously, my father-in-law owns the business, and he started cleaning cars.
Mhm.
I started cleaning cars. Our
Yep.
GM started cleaning cars. Body Shop Bob has been there over 50 years. Started cleaning cars. My wife cleaned cars.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
everybody started in the same area,
Yep.
and I do think that's important. I think it's important for other people to see that. Like people saw me taking out the trash, and I was the best at it.
Well, I always think it's weird when you have people in positions of power that don't have any expertise in that area.
Yeah,
Like if we, brought on like a new CEO or something and they had no experience in marketing. I mean, sure, maybe they can come in from a business perspective, but they don't know the nuances of what the hell we do.
right.
It's like, how would you ever run a successful dealership without knowing everything there is to know about service
Yeah,
and everything there is to know about portering and
yeah.
everything there is to know about transportation and sales and everything else? It's like you wouldn't it's hard to see how you wouldn't be successful or you would be successful in that job when you don't have
Yeah.
the experience when it comes down to the different roles of that business.
I think your only shot is you better hire really well.
Yep.
You better surround yourself with some damn good people that know
Mhm.
those specific roles. And I mean, either way, it's always if you have good people around you, you're going to be more successful and life is going to be easier
Yep.
and you guys are going to have each other's back and you're going to be able to withstand a lot more with a good team.
Yep.
And they don't all have to be all stars. I think that's also in business. A lot of people get frustrated with hiring and firing and employees and whatever. And one of the things that I think people lose focus on is that winning teams aren't built like they're not all star teams.
Mhm.
And so you're never going to build an all star team. And if you do, it's probably not going to
The
perform like you think it is. It's
Yep.
just not going to work. Like
Mhm.
you're going to have your tiered guys, your girls, and people that are all tiered and they're gonna play their role,
Yep.
and at the end of the day, if they do that role well, and that's what you want them to do, like, they're a team, your team is gonna play much better than any all-star team or team that may be filled with more skill.
Yep. I've had that conversation before about like top performers and having the discussion about, oh, all of my employees are in the top like 90%. It's like, that's probably not the case.
Yeah,
And if that is the case, it's all about to fall apart.
right. So my dad got to, we're a big hockey family, so he got to one of his good friends, um, what George Hansford used to own the train wreck, and he was good friends with Brett Hall.
Okay.
And so when the Blues were playing the Red Wings in the playoffs, my dad meets him at I think they were at the train wreck, and he's like,
Hmm.
Mark, come on over. I got somebody I got to show you. I got somebody I got to meet you."
Now,
And
which train wreck? Manchester or
the Manchester,
Manchester?
and so he's like, brings him over, and it's Bobby Hall.
Hmm.
And my dad's like, "Holy shit, this is incredible!" And he's like, so George's like running around. He's like, "I think you guys will enjoy talking about the game together."
Hmm.
And Bobby and him were talking. I think at the time the Blues were down like 3-1, and they're talking about what the Blues have to do to come back.
Yep.
And my dad was like, you gotta take it one game at a time. And Bobby Hall was like, "No, Mark, you're wrong. You got to take it one shift at a time."
Mm.
And he's like, that's something him and his team did when he was, I think, when Winnipeg,
Hmm.
they had a very front top heavy team that
Yep.
was the first line. He's like, we told every other line, all you have to do, go out that shift and stop the other team from scoring. We're going to handle the other team's first line. We're going to handle our business up front and we're going to win and we're going to score. We're going to outscore the other team. If you guys stop them, we will win. And so I think that was a great lesson because it does boil down to sometimes you get looking so far ahead and it's like
Hmm.
just go out and win 30 seconds.
Yep.
Just go out and win, an hour of your day. Just go focus for an hour, focus for another hour. And then all that combined, you end up with a championship.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, long-term goal planning is always hard for me when it comes to business. Like planning for a year or 3 years is fine, but it's like planning for like 5 or 10 years down the road. It's like
I hate it.
it's almost like if I know now, I'm gonna know way more in a year from now than I do now. So it's like
Right.
5 years from now is so far away.
Yeah.
It's like future planning. It's like I just don't see. It's like you want to hit 10 million in revenue, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like you're at 1 million right now. I want to hit 10 in 5 years. It's like sometimes like, damn, you sleep at night and you're like, that's way big. That's a way bigger number than what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Maybe let's just try and hit 2.
Yeah. I think a lot of people it works for a lot of people, the planning and all that, and keeps people focused. I'm kinda like you, I don't really like to look like, when I was cleaning cars, I looked pretty far ahead and
Mhm.
was like, "I wanna run this place someday."
Yep.
And I had no means or, like, plan other than
Mhm.
I'm never going to say no, and when somebody hands me the ball,
Yep. I'm
I'm
taking it.
going yeah, I'm
Yep.
going to the end zone, like, I don't care what it takes.
Mhm.
I don't care how many hours I've put in, like, I'm going to I don't care if I'm clocked in, I don't care how much money I'm making, I'm going to get there, and, there was a lot of adaptions, a lot of winning, a lot of losing,
Yep.
which I think a lot of people don't really understand how much losing you have to take
Yes.
in order to be successful. You have to be pretty you gotta have a stomach for business, man. You gotta have in success in general.
So there is a thing that is annoying me right now, and it's been annoying me on social media, which is like everyone ripping on salary jobs,
Mhm.
like the whole entrepreneurship movement. It's like not everyone can be a successful entrepreneur. I would argue most people cannot
Yeah.
because of what you just said before about it is you on the line. Like, let's just say, for example, your business has 3 bad months. Okay, what are you going to do? You're going to fire your whole team, or for a couple of months, are you not going to take as much pay, or let's just say no pay,
Yeah.
and make sure your team continues to get paid? The risk is always on you. You as the business ownership group, you have to deal with making payroll, paying all of your expenses, everything like that.
All the fun stuff.
Whereas the employee at the end of the day, they come in and they have to do just their singular job,
Yeah.
right? I am continually jealous of the people that have salaried positions at this point because I'm like, some days I'm like, doing what I do is great, but sometimes I'm like, it wouldn't be bad just to have a 9 to 5,
Not worry.
go in, yeah, just do my job, get a paycheck, and that's all
Yeah.
I have to do.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's funny you say that. I had kind of like a moment where I was running my demo through the car wash and I pulled up to it and I like literally had like a flashback to like when I was cleaning cars.
Mhm.
I was like, man, I thought life was like tough and complicated then. So kind of like
Yep.
what we were also talking about, like everybody's battling different issues. And at the end of the day, your team is only going to be as good as your team
Mhm.
is putting together. But and not everybody's cut out for not everybody wants to be a business owner. Not everybody wants to
Correct.
sacrifice. Most people don't want to be a successful business owner. Most people don't know what it takes because
Mhm.
they see social media and they see like, oh, this cool. You
Yeah,
get
self
that. Like,
course.
yeah, you can kind of make you can make your own hours. Yeah, you can kind of, but you like you just mentioned, you're always on the hook.
It's like, yeah, you can
So
make your own hours, but you're answering calls at 7
yeah, yeah, and I'm like,
or just 7 PM or AM,
yeah,
right?
exactly, exactly, and people a lot of times aren't willing to do that. It's like, "Well,
No.
when's my day off?" Like, "What do you mean? It's your day off?" Like, I've really actually always
I know
wor
when I need a day off because 'cause I'm, like, pissed for a couple days in a row,
yeah,
then I'll take a short vacation. I'm
and
like,
I'm
"I'm
not
out. I'm outta
yeah,
here."
so
Be
I've
like,
been better at it.
I need some trees or something."
Yeah,
I'm like, "I need to get the hell out of here."
I've been a lot better at taking that, and I think another thing a lot of people do, they will, like, not take a step back
Mhm.
and either recharge or they burn themselves out physically
Yep.
and mentally, and, a lot of times you do take a step back and
Mhm.
you let your team go, like, you'd be surprised what they can do. Like, they're like, "Holy shit," like, they just
That
like,
was always
"Wow."
my biggest concern when stepping away, right?
Yeah,
Is
how many issues am I gonna have when I come back?
yeah, and so far I can say that, over the last obviously the first, like, 4 years of building the business, I didn't take vacation. I didn't have any
Yeah,
money.
yeah,
I didn't go anywhere.
yeah,
And if I did, maybe my family helped me out or something. Like, I didn't take a lot of vacations for the first, couple of years, but by the time I was able to, and now obviously more frequently now, I just put on my calendar, I'm like, "Yeah, I'll see you when I get back."
yeah,
And it literally everything works out perfectly fine because we have processes and everything in place.
right,
Hopefully, our employees we've all had for quite a while, like working there, like taking care of our clients, like their job. So Makes everything a lot easier because I used to always just be like, worry, like, look at my email
Yeah.
when I'm on vacation. It's like, that's once you take your once you like take a couple days away from work, like legitimately away from work,
Yeah.
not checking email, nothing, not talking to the team, not doing anything, just doing whatever you're doing on vacation or even just sitting at your house and not working and taking a break and taking a recharge. I don't know. You come back feeling, hopefully, you come back with some ideas, number one, because
Yeah.
it seems like I always come back with something. I'm like, why the fuck have we not done this?
Exactly. Yeah.
And then I come back and I'm like, I'm full pedal
Yeah.
to the metal right when I come back from vacation. I was like, yo, chill out. I'm like, nope,
I think there's 2 different
I'm
types of
back on
people.
it.
Yeah, there's 2 types of people that come back from vacation like that, like recharge, refresh, ready to go, or they come back from vacation like they were just part of like the Hangover the movie. You're like, Jesus, man, you look like you need another vacation. What the hell happened to you? I
That was my vacation to Punta Cana
yeah,
for the bachelor party. Let me tell you, I needed I was supposed to go back to work on
recovery day,
I was supposed to
week.
go back to work on Monday and I was like, nah,
Yeah.
I'm not going to work today.
Yeah,
Sleeping like 4 hours every single night for 4 days was not great.
I used to go hard in the paint when I was cleaning cars. My father-in-law would always drive by me. It'd be like 100 degrees. I'd be tamping asphalt. Like, I'm gonna tell you what my or what my dad told me. I'm like, what's that? He's like, sweat that poison out, son. Sweat that poison out.
Yeah, yeah, very true.
So yeah, it's fun, man. The business is fun. It's awesome. You just got to be ready. Like if you're willing to put in the time and effort and work, and you like to help people grow, and you like to you're willing to just get absolutely your ass kicked and keep getting back up.
Yep.
It's awesome. But a lot of people aren't willing to do that. And a lot of people
Most people
see,
don't want the highs and lows.
yeah, yeah, exactly. They
The
want,
highs are amazing, but the lows are awful.
yeah. And but once you understand what it is, like I
Mhm.
think they're not as bad. Like me now versus years ago, it's like the lows were hard. It really, I mean, they're still hard, but like psychologically. But once you understand, like you're gonna get through it.
Yep.
You're gonna get through it. There's a lesson in this. Figure out what you can learn from this. Figure out what you can grab from this like specific low, or
Mhm.
if the market's tanking or whatever, like is opportunity. Like you're going, so figure it out.
Yep.
Like quit sulking, get your ass back up, and keep moving. So
Yeah, we haven't had the issue at Vi in a long time, but there was probably even the first 5 years, there was many sleepless nights of like, "All right, I guess I'm not getting paid."
yeah,
Where you need to pay the team, but I guess I'm not getting paid, and always I don't know what it is in those times of business, but it always seems like during your worst times, if you could try and make it through it, by the grace of the sales god, or by the grace of your friends and people that like you, I always end up getting people reaching out at the perfect time.
yeah,
You know what I
it
mean? It's
works
like
out.
we're not gonna hit it, and then someone's like, "Yo, I need marketing right now," and I'm like,
Right. And then you
"Thank
And
God."
then at
Yeah.
the end of it, how do you feel? You feel like invincible.
Yep.
You're like, "Hell yeah, this is awesome, man."
Yeah.
And then you start leveling up until
Yep.
you get your ass knocked out again. You're
Yep.
like, "Holy shit, I'm back
You're like,
here."
"No." You're like, "I didn't think I'd be back here again."
Right,
But
right.
even as you scale and make more money, it could still get to that point.
Exactly.
Even if you start at 10,000 and now you're at 1,000,000 a month, it can still become that point in the business where you're like, "Holy shit."
Like we talked about, you're 1 leader away from failure.
Mhm.
Like, that's it. Everybody is. Doesn't matter how much you've grown. If you suck at leading, if you're not a good leader, you can take an entire
How do you
corporation down.
how do you find a good leader? What do you
Build
so let's say you're interviewing.
so I
Let's
would
say they're not a leader yet, or even if they are.
I struggle a little bit with this because, like, I came from the, like, I see myself in a lot of, like, the younger people,
Yeah.
and it's like, "Man, like,
Yeah, same.
can you put it together?" The
Mhm.
odds are you probably can't,
Can't.
so
Yes.
but you see that the potential, and you're gonna have to go through a good amount of people to find a diamond, like, you have to,
Mhm.
and, at the end of the day, you try and probably one of the things that we could do better is we don't cut people as quickly as we probably should
Should.
or could,
Yeah.
and, just because we would rather err on the side of caution, and
Yeah.
we're gonna give you opportunity, like, you're gonna mess up, whatever, okay, you're showing up, you're not showing up on time, you're not like, we're gonna give you opportunity, and sometimes they put them together.
Mhm.
Like, one of our technicians, he just retired, 30 plus years with us. He came in and he initially lied on his resume. This was before my time.
Nice.
Um,
Lied how? Like he had experience?
yeah,
So he
and
didn't have any
no
experience.
experience. So my father-in-law was running the
Nice.
parts and service department at the time.
Yeah.
Bo was still alive, and he's like watching this guy. So he's got guys watching him, and this guy's like struggling. Like he's at lunch trying to learn how to be a mechanic, and like
Yep.
just his times are all off. And so after 2 weeks, my father-in-law calls him in. He's like, Paul, you weren't a mechanic before this, were you? And he just put his head and he goes, no, I'm really sorry, sir. I just needed the job. And
Yeah.
so my father was like, hey, I don't condone lying,
Mhm.
but you've got some balls.
Yeah.
And I've been watching you. And you have been working your ass off trying to figure this out.
Mhm.
So I was like, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna move you to another satellite location that we have. And I'm gonna pay for your schooling. And I'm gonna make sure that you don't get fired for not having
Yeah.
this because Bo will fire you
Got it.
if he finds out. So he's like, we did that, and like that him there right there, like that was one that like easily could be like, you're done, but 30 plus years, he literally just retired with us.
That's awesome.
So I mean, stories like that are just awesome, especially when you've got a long standing business where you get, your the kids get to come in
Mhm.
and see where my wife was a kid. She was running around there. There's still, people that are there when she was a baby.
There's
So
something about family businesses.
yeah. There's a lot of
Just
blood and sweat poured into them, a
yeah,
lot of sacrifice.
a lot of good stories, a lot of
Yeah.
sacrifice. There's a lot, there's I wish my dad's business was around after I graduated college because I think I could have helped and done something there, but he closed it before my time. I was still like right in college, and I didn't know what I wanted to do right out of college anyway, so I wouldn't. But if he had it now,
Yeah.
that'd be that'd be dope. That'd be amazing.
Different world.
Yeah, it would be. It would be. And I always try and I always think about starting a side business with my dad because he knows so much about wine
Yeah.
and just wine pairings. He's not a sommelier. I was like, I'm gonna get a sommelier on the podcast. You're gonna debate him or her, and he's like, but they know more about the scientific stuff.
Yeah.
But he's like, I know just a lot about every wine,
Yeah.
literally, because that's all he did for 40 whatever
That's
40
awesome.
40 years.
Yeah.
And he opened that business right out of college. Took a loan out, small loan, and got the store where he was at for the entirety of the business, right at Clayton
That's what people
and
don't
Baxter.
understand. When these small businesses, they're all you can if you think being a business owner is easy, it's not hard to start one up.
Mhm.
I
Very
mean,
true.
my father-in-law took his over and he's took I think 5 million in debt. So,
That's
you're
crazy.
starting in his mid-20s. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, shit, most people are doing way better than he
Mhm.
was at that point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of people don't like we talked about don't have a realistic view of what it is and what it takes to be a business owner, to run a business,
Mhm.
or what all goes into managing people too. That's another big one. They don't teach you that in college, and
They don't teach us anything.
yeah,
They really don't teach us anything.
yeah,
I was reading like they used to teach like how to build houses back in the day in schools.
yeah. I mean, you see a lot of like,
Now it's all
particularly
science, math.
a lot of business stuff, and it's like, what has this person done in business? What have they done?
Right.
Like I've looked at like I remember in it's SLU, I'm looking, it's like entrepreneur class. I'm like, this person's
Started a
never
company.
started a business. What does he know about being an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
And he wrote a book on it.
Yeah.
How the hell you write a book on that? You didn't you didn't start one. What do
I
you
always I always find the entrepreneurship degree difficult
Mhm.
because it's almost like that's the opposite of entrepreneurship
Yeah.
is going to school. But now with that said, if you had a good entrepreneurship course, I could see it being very valuable because it'd almost be any lesson you could potentially teach so that way they don't have to go through it, hopefully.
Be in the real world, it'd be like, hey, it would be like you're
And you probably get a lot of
mentoring.
people that don't end up being entrepreneurs after that class.
Right. I
After
mean,
that.
it would be a mentor. It would be, in my opinion, it would be
Be
more of like you're going to shadow me, and
Yep.
you're going to find out what it's like, and then I'm going to show you the things that I had to go through to get
Mhm.
this business to this level.
Yep.
And like you said, a lot of people and a lot of really high level companies they hire that way.
Yeah.
In particularly, like they'll hire out of college that way. I know a friend of mine has he took a company, I've talked about him at BNI, from 5 million to 5 billion in revenue. And he was one of the first 3 or 4 on it. He's like
Holy shit.
the
You went
finance.
to school with him?
No, I didn't go to school with him.
Okay.
I'm friends with him, family friend, and
What type of business? Can you
construction.
say the business?
Construction. I don't know if I can say the
All right.
business. But he was like,
5 million to 5 billion.
yeah, he was the accounting guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, I knew the construction. The rest of the guys were like, they're very personal. It's like I was
Mhm.
the accounting nerd with a personality, and he's like,
Yep.
we try to hire personality. And he's like, I mean, I had to convince them to invest in a computer. Like that's how.
Yep.
I mean, it's crazy. And he's
Yep.
like, now you have so many. They hire so many. They have 20 recruiters that are
Mhm.
hiring at colleges, and he's like, we burn through people. We'll hire people. We try to hire based off personality,
Mhm.
and we know that the majority of these people aren't going to make it after 2 years.
So they
But
follow the hire fast, fire faster.
and he's like, it's not like, and it's not for everybody, and
Mhm.
it may not work for every business, but
Yep.
that's how we do it. And those 2% that make it are the future. They're the executives now,
Yeah.
and they've made it, and I can tell you this, they put in the work.
Yeah.
They grinded it out, and it's not easy.
Mhm.
But he's like, the same extent like we talked about. I remember when, I was making money, but it wasn't there because I had to keep it in the business. I
Yeah.
had no money.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that.
Even me thinking about 5 million to 5 billion, that's hard. That's almost hard for me
It's
to.
crazy scaling. It's
Yeah.
insane.
That's
Yeah.
absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Cuz like a $5 million company, okay. 5 billion, I'm like, how much did you have to do from like what was the company size before to then? How many processes, how many new teams, how many new avenues?
3 people is what it started with.
That's
So it's
crazy.
like 3 or
See,
4 people. So obviously now it's way bigger. But yeah, he was big on processes. Obviously,
yep.
you have to have the right processes in place. But he was very big into making the team and everybody else buy into the company.
Yeah.
So like you want them invested in the company, and you want them
From like a monetary perspective or just from
eventually, yeah.
yeah.
So like as you work your way up, you're going to be invested in this company, and
Mhm.
you're going to get people who are going to make the right decisions because they're invested in the company, kind
Yep.
of like they were when they were starting it.
Yeah.
They were broken. Everything was in the company, and that
Yep.
was it. Like, and so he credited that a lot to his success. He's like, I had everything in there. I was all in, and he's like, that was it. This is all I
Mhm.
knew. So that's the way I was going.
Hey there, St. Louis podcast listeners. We've got some exciting news from our friends over at Farmers Insurance of St. Louis, led by the man, the myth, the legend, Mark Lee of Farmers Insurance.
Mhm.
If you're looking for a job or to own your own business under a brand that everyone and their cousin is familiar with, Mark Lee with Farmers Insurance of St. Louis is recruiting insurance agency owners here in St. Louis for their Farmers Insurance Mentorship Program.
And as many of you are aware, Garrett and I have owned quite a few successful and award-winning businesses over the years. And in a past life, one of those was a farmer's insurance agency out of Chesterfield, Missouri.
Eric and I know firsthand how hard it is to start a business under a brand that no one has heard of and convince consumers and businesses to trust that you're an authority figure in your industry.
And as many of you know, we own an award-winning marketing firm, Vi Media, the one that Garrett was just discussing. And building that company's reputation literally took years. We're still building it to this day, and it's been 8 years in the making. However, with the Trusted Farmers Insurance Agency name on the building, we got started when we started our Farmers Insurance Agency. The trust was already built and has been for 96 years.
And if you can't do math, that means Farmers Insurance has been around since 1928. Luckily, you don't need to be a human calculator to get rich as an owner of your very own Farmers Insurance Agency.
Nope. All you have to do is reach out to the one and only Mark Lee, the leader of Farmers Insurance in the greater St. Louis metropolitan area.
That's right. So ensure he continues to sponsor our show and your favorite podcast, the St. Louis Podcast, by quitting your job today and calling Mark Lee. I wouldn't even wait for him to answer your call. Call your boss now, quit, and become your very own business owner.
Visit insurancecareerstl.com. That is insurancecareerstl.com. Should we spell it out?
Yes, it would be
INSURANCE, career, CAREER, STL.com, insurancecareerstl.com. Go there now. Back to the
yes.
podcast.
And wait, insurancecareerstl.com.
Back to the podcast. I've always thought it'd be interesting to have some sort of split with employees or like employee owned, or I don't even know what employee owned really means, to be honest, but like
Yeah.
some way to like profit share. I don't know. Some way for a person to actually be able to buy in. Because of course, they have a salary. If you're a salesperson, you get commission, do bonuses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's never like directly aligned with profit or
Right.
revenue. You know what I mean?
I think that boils down to like we keep coming up with is like culture too.
Mm-hmm.
There's more to buying into a company than just like revenue or profit or
Mhm.
whatever.
Well, the employees don't even understand.
That's the big thing.
So
And,
like you have to explain to employees like we pay for all this software and
Yeah.
everything like that, right? We have all of this stuff that we pay for. So, we pay to be here in this building.
yeah,
All of this stuff that, your health insurance, your benefits, your X, Y, and Z,
Yeah.
all of this stuff. It's like, yeah, it's just it's hard.
so some of it's like training, and then like kind of like you look at like a company like Enterprise, they're
Mhm.
huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
When they recruit,
I'm
it's
trying to get
from-
my brother a job at Enterprise Holdings. If you guys are hiring for software engineers, designers, etc.,
tell them they're hiring cleaning cars.
that's right. Matthew, go work at Bo Beuckman as a porter.
But I mean, seriously, that's where they start their recruiting from the get go. Like,
Mhm.
if you were to be recruited by them, I've always admired how they recruit. Like, obviously, they don't do everything perfectly, but they sell you something, a vision, and they're not going to say, "Hey, man, if you come work for me, we're going to make you dress up in like a suit
Yeah.
and wash cars at the airport." All right, it's gonna be awesome. You're
That's-
gonna love this shit. It's
that's
gonna be real
sick.
hot. Like,
That's sick.
I mean, like that's what it is, though.
Yeah.
But the reality is they're also saying if you do this
Yep.
for this amount of time, like we're going to be looking to move you along the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
And one of our friends is moved his way pretty far up the enterprise ladder in the southeast,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like you start cleaning cars and it sucks,
Yep.
and then you get opportunity and you keep moving up, and so like I think small businesses have trouble doing that, and because like a lot of times as a small
Well,
business,
no one
you're-
has patience.
right, you're the
Like,
owner
especially
too.
people our age just don't have patience.
Yeah,
Like,
when
I was
owners,
like, we didn't make shit money for a long
Right.
time. And I love the people that can start a business and immediately are successful and make a lot of money. I'm super jealous of those people.
Yeah.
But also, when we started our marketing agency, we didn't know anything. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's like we all had jobs previously doing whatever, but none of us were like in business ownership or, management. So the first like 4 years of us all, I lived in my parents' basement. I moved
Yeah.
back in after having a sales job where I was making good money, went back to my parents' basement in the hopes.
probably questioned yourself a lot during that
Oh
time.
my God, dude.
Did
I
I
really
make the
don't
right
know
one?
I don't know how I ever did that. Because I look back and I'm not, I'm like fairly frugal with money. I don't like gambling or anything because I don't like taking risks, but I guess it was just Garrett and I would talk about this vision of building this business because I lived with him when he was starting it.
You gamble on yourself, buddy.
Yes. Yeah, literally.
All in.
And I, you were talking about the first phone call you made. I always have a funny story of the first office that Vi officially had was in the same office building that Freedom Credit Solutions, a credit repair company I was working for at the time, was in. And Clayton Natoli, shout out Clayton, was doing cold calling. And the first call that he got, someone to answer, they said hello. He briefly pitched. He goes, "Are you interested?" The person said yes. He started freaking out, hung up the phone.
Got the yes.
got the yes. That's all that matters. But it's
Well, he did way better than I did.
yeah. Looking back though on like the I think going on 9 years in October, so pretty soon 9 years of the business being open. I don't know the amount of stuff I've learned just from doing it
Yeah.
is insane. And
Yeah.
I don't looking back on what we didn't know then, I don't know if I would have started a business knowing what I know now, or at least doing what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it's this.
Because you're like, oh, now that I've done this, it's like there's so many opportunities.
Yeah. Well, then you start realizing, like we talked about, with the Bobby Hall story. It's like,
Mhm.
how did you do that? You were in your parents' basement. Like, how did you get to this point? And it's like 30 seconds at a time.
Yep.
Like, at some point, you put it together and you inched your way and kept moving, and that's how all of us do it. Is little by little, you
Networking, same
eventually.
with you,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I
Networking
mean,
was huge, and then
I couldn't even
fucking
speak in public. I would stand
calling
up and
calling
go,
100 people a day.
right.
And I didn't even we use like Zoho CRM, but I was just going to Google.
Yeah,
I just type in roofing company Jacksonville,
yeah,
and I just call every single roofing company that's
yeah.
on Google, every single one. Then put them in the CRM, and hopefully you make one meaningful conversation out of 100 calls
Yeah,
that you have
grind
that
them
day.
out and
Yeah, but
yep.
people don't even want to do that. Like we went through so many salespeople
Well, they
by.
can text now.
Yeah. Well, I actually saw this interesting program that allows you to text as if it's an iMessage.
Okay.
So now those texting marketing is not going to be a green bubble; it's going to be blue.
Oh,
And I'm
nice.
like, huh, that actually is kind of nice
Yeah.
because anytime you do get a text on your iPhone from like any of the security or any marketing promotions, it's always green text.
I never noticed. I get so many bullshit texts. It's like
I get, s- I
my
get,
wife
s-
signs me up for all sorts of like everything she buys is my work email on my cell phone. It's unbelievable. I get peppered at like 8 a.m. by like 50 emails from like bye bye baby and
I,
like I'm like, what is going on?
I despise people that use their work email for
I can't. I'm like, I can't
personal.
unsubscribe. Well, she doesn't. She uses mine.
I'm like,
I'm
don't you guys have like a Faron at gmail.com?
No, I'm gonna tell her to use yours.
I
Just
don't.
do this one.
Eric at
This is
Media.
my
That's
new
right.
one.
That's right. Use that. No, it's so all right. So talk to me. How old are you now?
I'm gonna be 40 in May.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
Are you really?
Yep. The big 4L.
So you graduated in what, 80 or 80? So you graduated in 2000?
Graduated in 04.
04.
And then, God, I think it took me like 9 years to graduate college between
Yeah.
all the different. I spent a lot of time in college. A lot of the main things I learned in college were drinking and fighting. And then,
Isn't that most people? I feel like that's a lot of people.
and then I figure out what I want to do with my life. You find your passion, and then you press forward. So
I didn't know what I wanted to do in college. I
yeah,
still look back and I'm upset about that time. Not that I didn't have a good time and learn about a lot of stuff, but I feel like me personally, I was not mature enough
yeah,
to utilize that time and money appropriately.
right, oh yeah,
I think if I were to go back to college now, it would be so much different.
oh yeah,
Like not fucking around, wasting time. It's like there's a lot of money going into this. Maybe you should, make it worthwhile.
right.
Like make good connections with people but even then it's like you didn't even think about future connections and stuff like that. It's just like
Yeah,
you just make friends and hang out with people. It's like
there's a few levels as far as like what I think about stuff like that. Like it's like, well, if you go back,
mhm,
you're not like even sucking for that long as I did. Like
mhm.
eventually, like that's a big part of being a loser for that long was a big part of me
Whoa,
eventually.
I didn't say loser.
Oh yeah, you're still a loser, but like
Business
people
loser,
people
yeah.
like me who have like. But I mean, because like going through so much and like losing for that long, being so frustrated with where you like not understanding where you want to be, it's frustrating. It sucks, and that did be whether like you like it or not. That is part of who you are, and it's part of how you became to where you are.
Yep.
So going back and changing
Yes,
that,
correct, yeah.
eventually, you play devil's advocate. Is like it doesn't really. Then you're not going to be who you really are. Are you going to have the same views? Are you going to have the same like viewpoint of college or whatever? With that said, would you also be, if you were locked in, would you be better off finding like if you find out what you want to do,
Mhm.
finding somebody to mentor you who's really successful at that?
I think we need a better mentorship, I know that there's different organizations that like Score and things like that that offer free mentorship, but I feel like it's hard to find people that want to give their time to mentoring
Yeah.
the younger generation
Oh yeah.
and for free.
Yeah.
And you always get pushback on different reasons why. It's like, well, my time's worth money. It's like, yeah, but you're not going to live forever.
Yeah.
Younger people need to learn this stuff. I don't know. Some people find it easy to find a mentor. I've always found it difficult to find a mentor. And
There's
I've had to learn a lot of shit just on my own.
there's a lot
And
of
watching
snakes.
my dad owning a, business back in the day, but I don't know, finding a has been tough.
Yeah, there's a lot of snakes out there. There's a lot of snakes that there's a lot of people who do a lot of they shortcut a lot,
Mhm.
and if you learn the wrong way, you're gonna pay the
Yeah.
price one way or the other.
Yep.
And unfortunately, like you just said, like you have to find people who are doing it right.
Mhm.
You have to siphon that out and decipher who is actually legit, who's actually a good person.
Yep.
Surround yourself with good people,
Mhm.
and eventually you'll be able to learn from lessons from if you're willing to from other generations that
Exactly.
have gotten their asses kicked. And
Yep.
I've had plenty of times where I thought that I knew better, more so than
Mhm.
whether it's my father-in-law or our GM or whatever, and I'm wrong, and I just get my ass kicked anyway. It's like, well, maybe I should listen. Maybe that's a good reminder. Yeah, these guys have been here for a while. Yeah, they they know some shit. So
I always, I sometimes think about this as well. It's like when I'm like 50
yeah,
or like 60, all the shit I'm gonna know
yeah.
that I don't know now. I'm just like, oh,
Then you're gonna have some young punk ass kid
I
come in
know.
like, "Hey, I know some shit," and you're
You're
gonna be
gonna,
like,
yeah, you're gonna have
which is
me.
what,
You're
yeah,
gonna have me at my age, yeah, and I'm a God.
yeah. There were a few. There's been multiple instances where I've done stuff, and Joe's like, "Dude, what the hell are you doing?" And then like, there was one where when I first started buying cars, I bought these like crazy cars, and I was
Mhm.
so convinced that they were gonna sell fast,
Yep.
and like,
The crazy cars usually don't ever sell fast, right?
I mean, these were like, it.
Which one? How long ago are we talking?
We're talking probably 10 years ago,
Okay. Well,
and
what's crazy?
so like this was like just the way I did it and everything. Like
Mhm.
from the get go, like by the time I got these trucks to the dealership, they were already out of arbitration. Like so I was like, if something were like messed up, like
Got it.
we're just
Got it.
screwed. And
Yep.
they're like $50,000, $60,000 like trucks. I think one was a flatbed. He's like, what are you doing, dude? From like Virginia.
So what do you mean arbitration? Like,
So like if I buy at an auction, there's arbitration.
okay.
Depending on
Okay,
each
okay.
auction is different. So
Okay.
like if I get it to my dealership in X amount of time, I can run it through my shop, and then I can, if there's an issue with it,
Yeah.
I can file for arbitration. Some auctions are better than others.
Got it.
But these were like if they showed up with blown engines,
Yeah,
like
it didn't matter.
no,
Screwed.
I'm out. Like, and so even to this day, I was like, Joe, what'd you think when I did it? He goes, honestly, I thought you just made a really big mistake, and I'm just gonna have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And hopefully you're gonna learn from it.
Now, did they sell?
They
Did they
did.
work?
They did. They showed up. They sold so fast, and like I was like so cocky. It's like
He's like,
looking
"You got
looking
lucky."
back on it makes me sweat.
Yeah.
He never said anything about it. He never came at me. He was like, "You got lucky" or anything. But like looking back at it, I'm like, "Oh my
You got
god!"
lucky. Yeah.
Like wow, I
Yeah.
could have easily been like a $10,000 loser each.
Mhm.
Like
Well, I always say the luckier you are is the more shots you take.
yeah,
You're gonna be more lucky only because you've taken more opportunities.
yep. And that's I think an important lesson when you lose money. Like keep pressing.
Yeah.
The worst thing you can do is sit there shell shocked and
Mm-hmm.
curl up and be like, okay, I can't do that. I can't perform anymore.
Yep.
You got to keep pressing forward.
I had a business that I owned for a short period of time and got kind of suckered into buying, wasted time and money on it, and eventually ended up selling it. And I learned so much through that process,
Yeah.
which is simply I didn't know what the hell I was buying.
Yeah.
And it turned out that there was some, fibbing, if you will. And I learned a lot about due diligence. Of course, I know how to do due diligence in Vi and things like that, but when it came to this new business, I just didn't do it.
Yeah.
And I thought I understood the numbers, but some of the numbers, even though they were correct, was only numbers that were going to be applicable for that year, not reoccurring,
Yeah.
right? So, that was a huge learning experience for me, and now I'm way more hesitant to partner or do anything with anyone else unless I
It's tough.
specifically know
Yeah.
absolutely everything about the business as well as that person or group of people. Like,
I
I
think
think that's
a lot of people get suckered into same types of stuff, especially when and even not just say suckered, like when you partner with somebody with a business, it's you like you're gonna find out who that person is.
Yep,
And there's a lot that goes into it. There's a
yep,
lot that, it's usually not all equal. Like,
mhm,
there's certain people that are good at some partnerships work out really well. Others like end up like really, really bad.
yeah,
And like, or like, one person gets divorced and now you're partner with the ex-wife and
yeah,
you're like, well, do I want like I didn't sign up for this.
have a buy-sell agreement, and you won't have that issue.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's layers to that.
That's always something interesting. It's like, yeah, if, someone dies or whatever, it's like now their wife or husband gets to
Yeah.
come in. If you don't have that stuff set up right,
Yeah.
that's always insane to me. It's like,
Like we talk about, one bad leader
yeah,
is the end, no
yep,
matter how great your company is. Like
mhm,
you have people who've been with you for a long time, you die, you have somebody that was not there and was not in the trenches with these people, and they come in and they start trying to throw their weight around. Like it's inevitable that people are gonna be like, dude, screw you.
yep.
Like I'm not gonna like no. This is not how it's gonna go.
All right. Should we talk about food real quick before we wrap it up?
You wanna talk about food, or you wanna talk about the unipooper?
What is that?
The unipooper, dude?
What are you talking about?
Oh my god.
What is the unipooper?
Wow.
What are you talking about?
The
Is this
uni
real? Is
this
this
is
real?
it's a little real and real, man.
The unipooper. Tales from retail.
So back in like the 90s, there was a guy that would I've told this at BNI. You need to start showing up to when I present, man.
Yeah, maybe I've been skipping.
So there's a guy that would come and he would cut the tops out of Mustangs and he would shit all in them. And he hit like multiple dealerships around here.
What?
Yeah, I swear to God. And so like this guy eventually got
This
on
guy had to be like doing it in buckets and like
so like this dude, it eventually got big enough to where like Howard Stern got a hold of it and nicknamed the guy the Unipooper. So like he hit our dealership
yeah.
and like my father-in-law was like Joe was pissed. He's
Yeah.
like, I will catch this guy. I don't give a shit how much money it costs. I will go to the end of the
I'm
earth.
finding the unipooper.
So I mean, he had people camping on the roof waiting for this dude to come in, and like eventually, he sets up a
he was
sting.
doing LA riots.
Yeah, pretty much. He like had like two guys up there for like most nights trying to catch this dude, and so eventually they get like a sting operation, and they put like, all right, this is what this guy targets. We're gonna put it in the back corner, all dark, and right there's a van right next to it, kind of blocking the view. Well, we have police inside of it, and one was like a young guy, and another one was like an older like veteran.
Yeah.
And so they have to wait. This guy shows up. They got to wait for him to do his, what he does. So he cuts the top open, takes a dump in it, rolls around in it, and falls asleep. And so then they come over.
Wait, rolled around in it.
Oh yeah, he smear it all over. So like the police show up, or they come out of the van, they tap on the glass. He wakes up. This is a big dude. This is like 6'5", 240. So
What the hell?
he's a big dude, and he pops out of the top of the hole and just starts running. It's like the young guy is like, I mean, just like any young guy,
So now you got to tackle a poop.
He's like, this is his shot, like we talked about. You're the young guy, he's got Eye of the Tiger playing in his mind. He chases the unipooper down and tackles him. And then then the song stops playing. The unipooper gets on top of him. The other cop rolls up, and eventually they arrest the unipooper, and they put him in a cell with a guy who's passed out drunk.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think happened to that guy?
Pooped on him.
Just got covered in shit. So this
Who
guy
is this guy?
This guy wakes up. He was actually a groundskeeper at Whitmore Country Club at the time in the 90s.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So
this dude gets up.
Creating a beautiful golf course by day, shitting on Mustangs at night.
Like Batman.
This is
So this dude beats the hell out of Unipooper, almost kills him,
Mm.
and he gets out of jail because of this.
Yeah.
Like his lawyers sue, and he gets out of jail, and he does it again to a Mustang and burns it to the ground. Gets caught, gets thrown in jail. So then, like, the other end of this story is that, like, the dealers who are getting hit
Yeah.
with this are like they're like talking like, dude, what?
Yeah.
They're like, they call my father and be like, what are you doing about this, Joe? And he's like, well, firstly, we've got a script that our service manager had to call every single person that got unipooped. And he had like a script that he would read, and it's like, you're gonna tell them their car, like, here, your car got soiled, we're replacing the entire interior. And
Soiled.
so if they questioned it, then he would tell them, most people were just like, yeah, okay,
Dude, we
but
got hit by the Unipooper.
yeah, they're like, they would tell them exactly what happened, and
You
like,
see the news?
so other dealers would call my father-in-law and be like, dude, why are you replacing everything? You could just detail it. And he's like, if this happened to me,
Yeah.
I'm just doing what I would want done to my car. And so there was a dealer who had a Mustang, and this guy, it was in service. They detailed it, and this guy gets his daughters in the back seat, and they put the seatbelt on.
Oh.
So coincidentally, this guy is a pathologist, and he's got his own lab. And so he goes and cuts them off, the seatbelts, and it's on his daughters. And so he comes into this other dealership and is like, I know what this is. I have a lab, and you're either going to buy me a Celine off of Bo Beuckman because you have one earmarked, I guess, at our dealership, or I'm going to sue the shit out of you. And so they bought him a brand new Celine Mustang.
Damn.
But it goes back to show you do the right thing, man. Like, no matter how weird shit gets. And I did meet the
So does insurance pay for that? Does Ford pay for that?
No.
Or you guys just straight out of pocket?
Out of pocket.
Damn.
That's doing the
Did you guys ever class action lawsuit the Unipooper?
I would imagine there wasn't a whole lot of
money.
Yeah, a whole lot of money in the Unipooper to sue him.
Hedge groundkeepers, though, get paid a decent amount of money.
Yeah, I don't know if he was the head groundskeeper.
Probably not.
Or what, but I did meet the detective who worked the case. He was buying a car in like 2022, and our GM Larry is like, dude, that's the detective for the Unipooper. So immediately I get up, I go up there, I'm like, sir, I tell him who I am, and he's like, man, he got real serious. He's like, I was in law force for like 30 plus years, and no pun intended. That was some of the weirdest, craziest shit I ever seen.
So he never went to jail for it, like long term.
He got the second time I don't know how long he went, but then they got him and put him away, and
he hasn't been back.
He hasn't been back.
Damn.
It's a little hard to do now with all the cameras and stuff.
We got someone listening right now, and they're like, I'm gonna bring back the Unipooper.
Yeah. Don't do it at my dealership.
All right. Anything else? You got any other good stories?
Oh man, I got all sorts of good stories.
You got one more before we get out of here?
You want a motivational one?
Yeah, let's talk. Let's give a motivational one. Yeah, let's give these people some
Let's
motivation before we clock out.
All right, so real quickly, like back in the day when I was in my senior in high school, I got to shadow a nephrologist who did like liver, kidney, pancreatic cell transplants. And
interesting.
So I got to like watch these surgeries, which are like crazy. Like they're like 7.5 hours long.
Yeah.
Like when I first showed up, I'm like, oh my God, like you're smelling the cauterized like skin, everything.
What do they do if they have to go to the bathroom during that surgery?
So it's like crazy. I thought it was going to be like a little more intense.
Yeah.
But like I'm standing over him. He's just like, our first one was like a 1.5-year-old baby, and he's doing a liver transplant. He's like, there's the organ. They're talking about their weekend, like super laid back. They've got music playing. They're just going through it. And like after that, he's like, what do you think? Stitches the baby up. Successful surgery. What do you think? I'm like, that's incredible, man. And he's like, just watch like 1,000 more. You can do them. But I always thought like that's always like at the time it didn't really hit home with me, but it's like really repetition, is the mother of all skill, no matter what you're doing. He didn't say like, do this, do that. Like, it's like literally you just watch 1,000 of them and you'll be able to do them. So I always love that story because I mean we were doing some pretty wild stuff, and there he was. I guess I was sitting there watching him.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he's just showing me like this is what this is. Here's what I'm doing. But
I always surgeons, that would be a tough job.
it is at the end of the day, like he said, like it's literally
It's gotta be pretty fulfilling.
it's repetition. Like
Yeah.
it is, but like we also had to do like his office hours, which were brutal because there's people coming in trying to sell you why they deserve
Yep.
a kidney transplant or a liver transplant, and like that's the whole like kind of like business ownership, the back end that you see that you don't get to see where you're making the
Yep.
decision of these people trying to
There's
make
some shows
themselves.
about that like talk about that stuff, and I never really thought about that. Literally for transplants and things like that, you essentially have to pitch it.
Yeah, it's I
That's
never thought about
crazy.
it until I was in there in the room, and it's
It's
like
like, "Yo, let
sad.
me in that room."
Yeah.
If I'm the one, I'm like, "Let me get in there."
But it's like older, like some of them are like older people trying to
Yep.
make themselves look like, their skin look,
Mhm.
more tan than it is so that they look healthier.
Yep.
Like, it was eye opening as a senior in high school, that's for sure.
Well, what's the show that's on, like, Hulu, I think? It's like the most realistic ER show
I
now.
don't
It's
watch
called
shows, man.
B Yeah, I haven't watched it either. It's apparently amazing. I don't have Hulu, though. Yeah, I was about to say, so you got 3 kids. What, you not have a lot of time?
Yeah, no time. 3 kids, and usually what time is it now? My wife's probably on the fence right now getting
12:40?
yeah, she's about 1:30. She's gonna be like, "I'm so done with this. Come home."
So how do you juggle the business and that? Because
Get
you guys are both involved in the business.
yeah,
How do you guys juggle that?
get a really good wife.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Fair.
I mean, honestly, it boils down to you have to have somebody who has your back. You have to have somebody who has your back, can help. Like, obviously, she takes a load off of with all the kids that
Mhm.
she's running around with day to day basis. But I mean, like I said, when I first was coming up, like she had my back,
Yep.
right? So like with all my meal prep,
Mhm.
I mean, she makes me 4 to 6 meals a day, like
Yeah.
ready to
There we
go.
go.
So like
Yeah, I'm starving right now.
yeah, that's the other side that you don't get to see with, how about success. You got to have somebody to have your back that's going to go through the tough times with you. And my father-in-law, obviously, he's had his wife who's stuck it out there through with him as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, marry well.
I know. And yeah, I'm still working on that,
Yeah,
sadly.
yeah. It ain't easy.
No.
Yeah, I got the best deal on the
Being
lot.
single out here, being 31, you're like, "I need to make a move
Dude,
here eventually."
come on out to Bo Beuckman. That's where I found mine. Right on the lot, bro.
Yeah, there we go. All right, Brent. You wanna tell the people where to find you?
You can find us at 1567 Manchester Road,
Mhm.
15675 Manchester Road, Ellisville, Missouri. Bo Beuckman Ford. You can put my cell phone number up there.
Yeah, we can if you want.
Put my cell phone number up there for all of your automotive needs.
You
You
gotta
gotta go to
go to
Bo.
Bo. Hell yeah. All right, perfect. Well, Brent, thank you for coming on.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. It's the first time I've done something like this. I
No,
enjoyed it.
it's been fun. It's
Yeah.
been fun. Before we get out of here, as always, like, review, subscribe, leave a comment, share with somebody. Of course, as always, Half Coast Studios takes care of us here for all of your podcast needs. If it's here in St. Louis locally and you need somewhere to record, or if you just need someone to edit and distribute, they can take care of that as well. And of course, go to Vi.media if you want the best damn marketing company on the planet. You'll talk to myself or one of our team members. See you next week. Bye bye.
Hey there, St. Louis podcast listeners. We've got some exciting news from our friends over at Farmers Insurance of St. Louis, led by the man, the myth, the legend, Mark Lee of Farmers Insurance.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking for a job or to own your own business under a brand that everyone and their cousin is familiar with, Mark Lee with Farmers Insurance of St. Louis is recruiting insurance agency owners here in St. Louis for their Farmers Insurance Mentorship Program.
And as many of you are aware, Garrett and I have owned quite a few successful and award-winning businesses over the years. And in a past life, one of those was a farmer's insurance agency out of Chesterfield, Missouri.
Eric and I know firsthand how hard it is to start a business under a brand that no one has heard of and convince consumers and businesses to trust that you're an authority figure in your industry.
And as many of you know, we own an award-winning marketing firm, Via Media, the one that Garrett was just discussing. And building that company's reputation literally took years. We're still building it to this day, and it's been 8 years in the making. However, with the Trusted Farmers Insurance Agency name on the building, we got started when we started our Farmers Insurance Agency. The trust was already built and has been for 96 years.
And if you can't do math, that means Farmers Insurance has been around since 1928. Luckily, you don't need to be a human calculator to get rich as an owner of your very own Farmers Insurance Agency.
Nope. All you have to do is reach out to the one and only Mark Lee, the leader of Farmers Insurance in the greater St. Louis metropolitan area.
That's right. So ensure he continues to sponsor our show and your favorite podcast, the St. Louis Podcast, by quitting your job today and calling Mark Lee. I wouldn't even wait for him to answer your call. Call your boss now, quit, and become your very own business owner.
Visit insurancecareerstl.com. That is insurancecareerstl.com. Should we spell it out?
Yes. It would
INSURANCE, career, CAREER, STL.com, insurancecareerstl.com. Go there now. Back to the podcast.
And wait, insurancecareerstl.com.
Back to the podcast.